Yo, 2018 Infiniti QX60. I think a Nissan Pathfinder's about the same junk. The victim's getting Nissan spark plugs I'm gonna put in here. There's a couple of 10mm on this airbox plenum thing. There's some little rubber grommets holding this beauty cover on. I can pop these off. I got to get this brake reservoir out of my way. There's clips here you pinch in. You can pull this out. There's a pinchy clip here. I'm going to get in here with a needle nose and pinch those. And them come out. Two 10mm for this. There's a hose that's still on this, and I'm just going to flop this out of the way. Put it on a little bungee cord like so. I have a mass airflow sensor on this airbox. There's a clip you push in right here on the top. And there's another pinchy clippy thing on this. Pull that one out. 8mm or a regular screwdriver on that hose clamp. I should be able to get this airbox off now. Couple clips there. There's a fuse box here. Okay, a relay fuse box. I want to get this out of the way. There's two little tabs here. You push down on them. Pull this out of the way. Two 10mm on this bracket. I'm taking this off too. I got some solenoids here and some vacuum lines I got to get out of my way. There's 10mm on these brackets. This vacuum line rail has a couple of 10mm buried down here. Got a big fat wire loom in my way. All this stuff is loose. Now I can give these a little twist just to loosen them up and pull them out. These are plastic too. They might break on you if you're not careful enough. I'm going to take this pinch clamp off here too. Pull that out. All this junk should just flop out of my way like that. I think I'm going to want to get this air horn out of my way. 8mm or a regular screwdriver for that. I'm going to flop this out of the way. Now there's coolant lines and a connector going into this throttle body, so I'm going to want to leave that on. I don't want to disconnect any of that or there'll be coolant going all over the place. There's 4 5mm Allen bolts holding this throttle body on. That just comes right out like that. You can get new gaskets for these if you want, the throttle body and the plenum. Just so long as they're not flat, they're still sticking outside of the throttle body. So I'm gonna say they're still good. I'm gonna reuse these gaskets. I'm gonna have to get this clippy thing off of here though. You just pop it out like that. Did you get that? Did you get that? All that should come out with the intake. There's still a vacuum line in the back there, but I'll do that after this intake is loose. Looks like there's 6 10mm on this thing. Let's see if I'm right about this. That'll be a little easier for me to get at this vacuum line. Pinch clamp there. I got a fancy hose clamp tool for this. Kind of in the same area. I think this is a PCV valve right here. So I'm going to want to try to get a needle nose pliers back here and get at that pinch clamp there. I think that's it for all the stuff. There's just a light amount of oil I need to wipe down on here. And I'm going to stuff these holes. Make sure nothing falls down in them, because if anything falls in these holes, it's going to ruin your day. Maybe your week. Maybe your whole car. That looks fairly safe. Same thing here. This gasket's still a little bit raised. It's not flat with the plenum yet. So it's still good. I'm going to reuse it. Most people will tell you you're supposed to replace it. There's a lot of older manuals. When they started using this type of material, they said they were reusable. So it's your call. That's going to be good. If it does leak, you're going to get a lean bank code. Now all 6 of these plugs and wires are pretty much going to come out the same way. You just need to push in this tab here. Push in and pull out. 10 millimeter here. Pull the coil out. I have a 14 millimeter spark plug socket for this. You're pretty much going to need one. Use a regular deep well, and the plug won't come out of the hole without a magnet. I have some high purity N5000 nickel based anti-seize lubricant for the nuclear power generation industry. Don't ask where I got it, or I might have to kill ya. Put a little bit of anti-seize on these threads. Stick it back in the hole. A lot of people say you want to check the gap on all of these. These are all pre-gapped. You don't want to touch the gap on iridium or platinum plugs. You touch the electrodes, you can ruin them. Just make sure the gap's not crushed. Stick it in the hole. These spark plugs get torqued to 18 foot-pounds. If you don't have a torque wrench, you can see there's a seal right here. And you just want to make sure that that washer crushes when you screw it in. If you get the feel for the thing. I'll be using a torque wrench because I have one. I can feel that washer crush too. It just a little bit more than crushed. Put the coil back in. All of these bolts and nuts on this entire vehicle are all 6x1 millimeter thread. So all of these get tightened to 100 inch-pounds. It's about 8 foot-pounds. And if you don't have an inch-pound torque wrench, basically all these bolts, you just get them as tight as you can get it with a screwdriver tight. You obviously can't get a lot of torque on it with a screwdriver. That's why I say as tight as you can get it, screwdriver tight. And then just take your ratchet and just go really short-handled and just go a little more. And that should be your 100 inch-pounds or close enough. I'm going to check it once, see what it does. See, I was right there. Good and close enough. Just do the rest of all 6 of these. One other reason why you want to use a spark plug socket instead of a regular socket is when you're putting the thing in the hole, you don't want it to drop down, because you'll take the chance of bending your tip. So this way you can just put it down nice and easy without wrecking anything. And before I put that plenum on, I just got to make sure all these are plugged in. Now I can get at them vacuum lines in the back. Line up the studs. Now I'm going to get these plenum bolts just snugged down a little bit. So I turn my drill down all the way. And I'm going to go on a square pattern in the center and then the outside ones. Just like all these other 6x1mm threaded bolts, I'm going to tighten these to 100 inch-pounds. And then I can just start buttoning up the rest of this stuff. Same thing, 100 inch-pounds on everything. Since I have this throttle body off, I'm going to do a little throttle body clean into this. I'm just going to take a little brake cleaner, rub this down a little bit. If there's any carbon buildup in here, I'll knock it all out. Might help it idle a little better. Looks like almost new. The gasket looks good. It hasn't moved. Same with this. I want to tighten them in a square pattern. Just snug them down. Then after they're snug, I can do my 100 inch-pounds. Put this snorkel back on. These clamps go to not very tight at all. Beauty cover. There's 4 little rubber snubbers. You can feel them push down on that. Now this plenum, I gotta stick this in this triangulated hole thing for the air box. "100 inch-pounds" seems a little much on these. I left them a little looser than that. Now I just gotta start it up and make sure it doesn't blow up. And it's a job. Okay, bye.